that you play to win. That's how the Koreans do it. That's how everyone should have to do it. Because if you don't, then you're just going to fall out of tournaments time and time again. I don't think Jinro is going to be too rattled about that, honestly. He's probably not happy about it, but he should do fine. And it's my pleasure to bring you Liquid Jinro. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Devon to the southwest of this particular map. Versus his opponent, it is Team Ace's Elfi in the red trunks playing Protoss to the northeast.
And Jinro's mindset this game, I don't expect him to go ahead and be like ultra defensive, because he shouldn't really be expecting Elfi to do the same. I really don't think that's going to happen from Elfi. So Jinro could potentially just go for the same build again and be like, all right, man, I'm pretty sure he's not going to do this again to me. But at the same time, he runs that risk of it happening again. Even though it's minimal, you know, could Elfi be thinking again on the same line, such as, well, Jinro's going to be thinking I'm not going to do it, so I could do it again. So we'll see, but I expect Jinro to play a very similar style, maybe just skipping the command center, but definitely that macro style. On the other hand, Elfi, if he's going to play a pretty straight-up game, it's just going to be the very same style we saw against Tager not so long ago on this map.
Yep, just a nice, big Colossus ball. Very, very dangerous it is, especially if he's able to get the drop defense down. Because I'd probably say Tager has better dropping skills than Jinro, honestly.
Yeah, Tager's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, you know, these guys have met before in multiple best of threes, most notably at big events such as DreamHack and IEM, and between both of the events, they all 1-1 between each other. So this really would put, you know, Sweden versus Finland in front of each other. So we'll see. It looks like Jinro not opting to take the gas, and this time that probe taking a bit of damage, but will be able to escape if he wants to here, or he could just wait a little bit longer, check the gases to make 100% sure, and try to get out.
Yeah, he should be able to get out with that without too much of a problem. And out he goes, not going to lose that probe the same way this time around. And in the meantime, of course, Jinro is doing exactly the same thing, keeping an eye on his opponent. No Stalker out yet, because of course no Cyber Core, so Jinro is safe just to hang around. But Elfi's not going to want to put anything down in the process, so it's not really too big a deal. And next couple of minutes, we expect just to see some solid passive play, and there is the command center going down as soon as that probe is driven off.
And Elfi skips the initial Zealot now, just goes straight into a Stalker and Chrono Boost, and once again will hide what he's doing away from Jinro, who actually had a hidden SCV in that previous game on Shakira's Plateau, but when it did go in, it had an awkward timing of it where it walked into the Stalker just outside the natural and wasn't able to get any information whatsoever. And it looks like there we are going to see Elfi throw down that natural Nexus and is going to go for this one gateway expansion. Meanwhile, Jinro is currently saving up money. There goes the bunker. And now, does he wait 300 minerals and throw down the double barracks? Or is he going to take that risk and take it again to go straight for that third command center?
Well, I think Jinro's going to be, if anything, he wants to be way, way surer this time around, because he took a risk and he did so blindly and it hurt him really, really badly. Or he's just going to do it again. That's a possibility too.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. He's going to be like, right, he's not going to do it again. Especially on this map, it is, you know, the cross position rather than the close by air too. So makes perfect sense for Jinro to do this once again and just reset everything from game number one. And Jinro's mentality has to be here. I got to ignore game number one. That didn't even happen. This is game one, and I'm going to 2-0 Elfi from here. Exactly,
because you don't want to dwell on that kind of stuff, because I think losing to that is, it can go one of two ways. Either you say that doesn't really count as a loss, because, you know, that was just nasty, unpleasant cheese, and hey, whatever, it's not really a big deal. Or, alternatively, you treat it as, oh God, why did I lose against that?
Yeah.
That's the worst thing to do.
Yep. And Jinro's Scout and SCV again denied there by that single Stalker. And Jinro once again is in the dark, though he does land a scan on the natural this time around. So that's the variant that he's brought into this game. He lands a scan and is like, all right, there's Nexus, cool, no problemo. And he's going to continue as normal now, taking the second, third barracks, and also the double refinery. But there is a very early forge from Elfi, and this play is becoming more and more popular as StarCraft does develop on, where you get an early forge, and you can actually start your upgrade relatively early. If any pressure does come, you can build a cannon. But more importantly, it takes away the chrono boost from the forge. Because if you build the forge at the mid-game, you have to chrono boost, get it there. But if you build it early on, you can still have a decently timed upgrade. But more importantly, your chrono boost can be spent elsewhere as well. So very early double forge here, or double forge, sorry. So a second forge coming down as well. So really early upgrades here from Elfi, going from one extreme to the other, from an all-in to an incredibly greedy play.
Yep, second bunker coming down. Jinro playing nice and defensive, which is to be expected. Marine just moving out there to try and secure this area. Check for pylons, more importantly, because he will want to take that third at some point. Usually when you build that CC so quickly, you use it to saturate your mineral line and then go for it. You don't immediately expand because you don't have the troops to defend.
And Jinro throws down the third and fourth gas really fast here. That's really interesting because he doesn't really need all 4 gases to run Medivacs and Marine Marauders from here.
So what's he going to do with it?
I mean, he's got an engineering base, so of course he needs to upgrade from here as well, but we'll follow that. Maybe just he's going to go very Marauder heavy, add on extra tech labs here, because he actually hasn't even added on extras.
Yeah, he did that, actually, he did that against Oz, if I recall correctly. He did go for a very Marauder heavy build against Colossus.
And we do have a third blind bunker from Jinro now, playing very, very safe. And it seems like he's playing a very old Elfi style, where Elfi would always do 2 base all-ins. But in reality, there's a double forge, and we already have the Twilight Council coming, so Elfi's going to have a significant upgrade advantage here. And there goes double more barracks down for Jinro, and the starport comes down also. But you can see his gas is shooting up now, as he's taken all 4 refineries, and there's a reactor down, and what's he going to do on this other one? I suppose it can be a reactor, but he's going to be pumping out a lot of Marauders for sure. I suppose 2 tech labs on the new ones and a reactor on this old one.
Yeah, but still, that doesn't sink that gas. Where does it go? More to the point, he does have that starport coming up, and that's going to assist him in immediately just going into double medevac. But maybe just a little bit too much, I suppose. He's putting an armory up, actually, and a second engineering base, so that's the reason for it.
And there is a scan in the main base, and Elfi, well, this is revealed, it gets revealed now, his strategy, and now all of a sudden, Jinro's going to be like, what? Oh, double forge. Oh, alright, okay. And Jinro's actually up against the wall, as now 2-2 has been begun. Jinro hasn't even finished +1 yet, and if Elfi really now does concentrate on chrono boosting out the forges, he's going to be at 2-2 before a push even comes from Jinro.
That's going to be absolutely brutal, and Jinro will, as you said, be up against it as a result. Now, when does Jinro take the third base? It's still a little bit risky. His army's possibly not quite big enough. He's seen double forge. Does he think, right, okay, my opponent is going to come at me, or is he just going to sit back and relax and get that big upgrade advantage and wait for the push to come?
Well, there is an all-in that can happen with double forge, so he may still be just being a little bit safe against it. But he should at least control the Zelnogin Tower. There's a single probe in the center of the map, which Jinro, with a single Marine, could take away that and start to really build and scout around as he does move out now. But the thing is, this is just a regular move out with 2 medivacs, which Elfi should be more than happy to accept. He has Blink now about to be researched, and he has a lot of money to build a lot of units. It looked like he was saving up for a Nexus, but upon seeing this, he could take the risk and build a Nexus anyway, or walk in a lot of units. He throws the Nexus down, and now that will take 400 minerals away from his overall army, but he must be feeling confident with this 2-2 upgrade. It's going to be so good against these units.
Yeah, it will be absolutely fantastic, and Jinro doesn't really have anything to straight up counter it. In fact, 2-2 upgrade is even better because, you know, it's obviously 21 Marines, 9 Marauders. Actually, come think of it, I mean, that force is quite Marauder heavy, more so than you might think. And the armor upgrade, amazing against Marines, not so amazing against Marauders. And we've seen a Ghost Academy coming down as well from Jinro, which is a good choice because he's playing against Gateways at the moment, but he's also then going to be playing against Archon and Chargelet coming in quite shortly.
Oh, Elfi's going to get this third base. Oh my god, every single game I've seen from him, he gets this third base under so much pressure. It's going to have to be cancelled once again, and this time he does have enough reaction time to actually cancel it. What? Alright, I guess not.
Cancel spaces. I don't really know why that is, but hey. So that's 400 minerals gone, which at this stage is kind of significant. The drop doesn't really do much and is able to get out of there with bare minimal losses, but that's just, it's a freebie. It's been donated to Jinro right there. There's no need for it.
And I think it was just because of the drop inside the main base that drew his attention away. Yeah. And then he was like, couldn't cancel it, never mind. And does lose it. But Jinro has established a third base. He's working on double engineering base now as well. So we'll start to catch up. The problem is Storm is coming, and if we see Elfi establish a third base and then push out when 3-3 hits, he's going to have such a large advantage that it doesn't matter how many units Jinro has. The pure quality of units will just overrun everything, especially with a couple of Storm hits. So
yeah, the thing about Storm is that Storm basically overrides upgrades. It makes it entirely worthless. It's a spell, it just lands, it does its damage. Doesn't matter if you've got +3 armor, +3 weapon, you're still going to take as much damage as you did, and it can be a real equalizer. Problematic for Jinro, certainly. He's now taking his third, and he's pretty damn secure on it as well. He's also building a 4th command center. In the meantime, Elfi is making sure that he doesn't lose that base again. I'd like to see just a little bit more drop harassment, because while there are 2 High Templar there, which does make it a tad risky, stretching the multitasking of Elfi seems to be the way to break him.
Absolutely, that's definitely something I'd recommend. You know, if I was a Team Liquid coach, I'd be like, stretch his multitasking, do it, torture him.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, no, don't do that.
No,
and now we do have
do
the 5th base of Elfi coming down, and he's added on 4 additional gateways. He's going to have a lot of units. He's going to rush up to that 200 supply mark. He throws down 4 more pylons, and he'll literally be there. And we do have a Zealot from Elfi in the top left. Does scout that there's no fast 4th base down, but it is actually on the 3rd base here for Jinro. But Jinro, once again, now with a little force in the bottom right, and he's going to try and run in to do some damage, but that cannon there is going to be enough buffering time for Elfi to actually get into position.
Unless, of course, he leaves with everything. That will be a bit of a problem, but we'll see. No, he's actually bringing everything, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's been actually spotted there anyway, so it's not really a problem. But that does give Jinro an opportunity here. If Elfi overcommits and gets drawn out of position, there are possibilities for maybe doing some damage to the natural here. You know, this is quite exposed at the moment.
All right, and here's that 3-3 little push from Elfi. And if he did push, he'd be doing amazing. If he sits back, he's going to let Jinro just control too much and get a strong economy. So in Elfi's best interest here, he has to start to push out.
Yeah.
He is trying to tech switch over to double Colossus, but if you push out now, not only do you force Jinro to take an engagement when he's not ready for it, you also can replenish the army supply you lose with the Colossus. So he definitely wants to be going. I guess he's going to wait for 200 supply and then go, but if he sits back, this is going to be pretty bad now. As you can see, Jinro adding on more command centers, starting to establish his production, and is getting rather too comfortable in this game where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, I'd agree. He is playing a little bit passively, and there are opportunities to do real damage to Elfi, even just harassment here and there. And unfortunately, doesn't quite get seen. The Observer's going to be able to sneak past quite nicely, and he also now has a full scan of what his opponent has coming at him. What he doesn't know is about the extra command centers to the back there, and that gives Jinro quite an edge in terms of his economy. Now, that Nexus going down, this just seems like the opportunity where you want to start to test Elfi. Elfi's army's up here, CC's down here. Go check, see if it's there, do a little drop action, maybe, I'd say force a cancel, but that never happens, kill it, and then go on from there. Just give yourself an edge where you can.
Yeah. Oh man. I really wish Elfi had pushed out earlier, because now he's gone for this double Colossus and he's saved the supply. Rather than just going to 200 and attacking, he saved it and was like, alright, I'm going to max out with Colossus. But now,
there's only going to be 4 Colossus.
Jinro is in a very comfortable position. The upgrade advantage is near lost, as Jinro has +3, and he has a good amount of Vikings and a good amount of Ghosts, and can easily take the top left. He has the Olympic circle of sensor towers now, so he can spot anything. And Jinro is very, very comfortable at this stage, even adding nukes, knowing that this is going to be all about position, that one big overall fight, and he can start to pressure the positional play of Elfi just by using a couple of nukes, fake or not.
Oh man, +3 Zealots are so good, and that Zealot is able to get a great number of kills there. Elfi now rolling out with pretty much everything he's got. The nukes will most likely be ready by that time, and this could be problematic for him. He's got sensor towers, so he has warning, but he's now just entering the radius, so he's got plenty of reaction time, but Elfi's also got time to set up a good position. Scan goes down to confirm the force.
The observer goes!
There, that's very nice, and there is the cloak. Nuclear launch detected, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's on. Okay, the question is, can he deal with that? A storm ends up landing on the Ghost, but it lives. The nuke is very, very close to actually doing damage. Storms all over the place. Oh, and the nuke actually misses. Nicely done to dodge out of the way of that. A really good set of storms there from Elfi to do huge damage, but these poor Ghosts can't even do anything about them at the moment. SCBs versus Colossus. Usually a really bad matchup. The Colossus does fall. Jinro holds, and that was messy one way or the other.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm going to be blunt, guys. That was a pretty crap engagement from both of these guys there. And, I mean, the thing is, though, the thing that's going to carry the advantage through that engagement for Jinro is that he has the stronger economy.
Yeah, by a massive amount.
He has a stronger economy. That was actually a very sloppy fight by both of these.
It was awful, wasn't it? Just call it how it is. It was pretty terrible. But whatever the case,
a bit of a tech switch now. Knowing that he killed a lot of Ghosts, there's still a lot remaining, but he has gone over to Zealot Archon now.
Yeah.
And he did have a lot of money banked up, so Jinro has to be careful not to push out too far. He does land a perfect scan, actually. It reveals everything, so he won't walk into the mass Zealot reinforcement here from Elfi.
Yeah, it's currently a 5 base versus 4. This base, actually, there was just a nuke that went down there. In fact, it didn't do any economic damage, but it cleaned out a photon cannon. There's another nuke going down. It's right over there.
Elfi's looking for it. I can see on his screen. He's like, where the hell is it? Oh, there it is.
He's found it. He's found it. It's okay. He'll be able to get out of there. But
that's the fastest I saw Elfi move for the entire of this series and the previous one. He's like, where is it?
Lightning never strikes twice. I don't know if that was necessarily the best idea, honestly. I think maybe waiting maybe 5 seconds, they're doing it again while Elfi's looking at something else, but the ghost is then easily cleaned up. But yeah, nuke harassment. Jinro does do this quite a lot. He likes it. It's nice because it's area denial. You can't mine from an area that's about to get nuked.
And there was this ghost in the bottom right, just picking off probes as it does. Up to 8 kills now, so pretty nice harassment. Another ghost is going to the natural area here and does land a nuke right in the production, but there's nothing to detect it, unfortunately. There's no observer speed, there's no observer even close, so it looks like he's going to land this nuke right there.
Yeah, well, it should kill off the pylons as well, which is going to shut down a lot of production here, so that's not too shabby. That's a pretty decent idea. Admittedly, it does only shut down 3 gateways, so maybe not quite worth it, but stretch the multitasking of Elfi. Add another 2 ghost canopies, get 5 nukes at once, why not? It's a good idea, it's very strong, and Elfi can potentially be weak to that. Another nuke goes down. I think Jinro's got to be a bit more careful about where he places these, because he's placing them where obviously Elfi is looking. If Elfi's moving his force out, he's looking there. Wait until he's not looking there. You've got to guess, of course. You don't know exactly where he's looking, but you can have an educated guess. Good EMP goes down, but he doesn't have a follow-up to it just yet.
Even though Jinro looks good, I'm a little bit worried about how he hasn't upgraded his Vikings past +1.
Yeah, true.
Therefore, the Colossus is at 3 armor
and
with
got
a
one
shield upgrade
too.
And a second shield upgrade coming. I don't think the Vikings will do that much damage fast enough before the Colossus kill everything that Jinro has.
Yeah, well, let's see. How many nukes has he got? He's got 2. His ghost count is at 11. So the best thing about this is he can just zone like a boss without any problem at all. And Elfi still hasn't built an observer, which means cloak ghosts are just going to be amazing.
And there was another nuke on the natural, but it didn't do that much, actually. And now a big engagement. Vikings trying to get in there. And let's have a look how these go down. They don't have any shields, so Colossus will fall faster.
Those EMPs are really, really good, honestly. And Jinro can just sit there and tank quite a lot of damage. The ghosts go down, but so do the Colossus. Nicely done. And Jinro guns his way through that army and drives it back once again. Elfi taking a good amount of damage here. And Jinro just going for it, punishing Elfi as much as he can for this. He wants to take that Archon. That would be great. There you go. Another Archon. Another Stalker going down.
Yeah, that was pretty good for Jinro. Landed some fantastic EMP, another nuke going down. I don't think that Elfi's going to walk into that one.
No.
But Elfi's army's pretty weak. Let's have a look at that. It's down to 80 army supply versus 90, but it's 5 base, and it has been for a long time versus only 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking what Jinro is currently doing. I say just pulling his opponent apart as much as possible, dropping as many nukes as he can. And nukes are not really all that expensive at this stage of the game. It's quite nice to do it. He's banked up a ton of gas as well that he's not really spending. So this mass ghost play is fine in that respect. But he isn't doing a lot of economic damage to his opponent, and that's what kind of worries me here, because Elfi's just building that death ball up once again. Admittedly, the longer Elfi waits, the worse it kind of gets for him, because Jinro is able to upgrade more and more importantly, just get those air upgrades up.
Well, the thing here is that Elfi, even though he's not looking too good, if he takes that base to the middle, that's a base that hasn't been mining compared to Jinro that has, and they're still at equal amounts of resources. But Jinro's lost more resources than not. So he's going to mine out faster, and Elfi's going to have this new base in the center to replenish the Zealots, to get back into a fight. So even though Jinro's been looking good, he's been on mining bases a lot longer, he does take the south side as well, but it's okay for Elfi so far. It's still okay.
Yeah, we've got a nuclear launch once again. Another nuke somewhere. You're going to have to go find that one. That one's been spotted here. Where is the other one more to the
center of the map? No! Oh, I was very close. He almost walked into that nuke in the middle there, but he does decide to go south.
He's doing really well. I mean, dude, not really done. Now, he's just going to go straight up and fight up against immediately in response to that nuke which is coming down the center, and Jinro does not want to walk into that. It cancels the launch because there's no point really, and Elfi cleans that base out without taking any real losses.
And the Colossus count now at 3. We do have 7 Vikings out, about to be 11. And the Ghost count currently at 9. And he is wasting a lot of Ghosts though around the map, not really achieving anything.
Yeah.
And he's throwing a lot of nukes down, but not really getting any results on any of the nukes. The biggest one was that production that he slowed down, but...
Yeah, not ideal. With the amount of nukes he's put down and the amount of Ghosts that were killed as a result, definitely not worthwhile. You can see in the resources lost tab, the gap is widening to a nasty amount, and Jinro needs either one of those nukes has got to land, or Jinro's just got to get a really decisive engagement otherwise, and Elfi's preventing him from doing that.
And I think a lot of Terran players out there are going to start to agree with me that the Marauder Marine ratio is pretty bad for Jinro. I mean, it's so incredibly Marauder heavy, and at this stage of the game, you have to have that DPS. You have to rely on those Ghosts hitting those EMPs, and the Vikings killing those Colossus, and the Marines doing the big damage. Because if the Marauders are left alone, I don't really see him killing anything because they don't have enough damage, especially against that Zealot count.
Oh, that's going to be spotted. Apparently there's another nuke somewhere, and you're going to have to go and try and find that one. That one was instantly cleaned up. I definitely heard a second one.
And it is just over here, but looking to catch the Elfi walking back. It's going to get a Colossus here, but... Oh,
well, sort of. Yeah. Colossus just gives no...
I know, it's like, you know, my shields are pretty good.
Yeah, and, another nuke coming down right there as well. Just, yep, doing more damage, but it's just... This is so expensive for what it's doing.
Well, Jinro's just looking for the easy way out. He's like, I don't really want to take a fight. I really like to land a nuke, kill everything, and then win. You know, Elfi, can I do that? Elfi's like, no.
No, I'm not going to fall for that.
And a lot of cannons been thrown down to fortify this center area. And this is what I said, you know, this center base is going to be very important for Elfi, who has a lot of money banked up now compared to Jinro, who has been throwing money around a little bit.
Yep, Observer taken out, always a good idea. That does leave him. There's still actually 2 observers there. Again, you can't do that. You cannot. Unless, of course, you've got a reason to pull... If you want Elfi to leave the base for whatever reason, so you can strike elsewhere, great. That's a good tool, but if you've just killed an observer, do you really expect him to walk into that? He might walk into this, but there's an observer now moving around, and he's moved away from that as well. You've got to draw his attention away from it. That's the only way this works.
The thing is, though, even if Jinro lands 20 nukes in this game and misses every one and then hits one at the end,
then it's a win.
Is always going to be a win, which is what he's banking on here. So even though the efficiency of the nukes, if they don't land, it doesn't matter. If he does nail one, though, by percentage odds, then the probability of him doing it is just better for him in long-term results. But what Jinro has now done is establish this south base. Elfi can't allow this base to be put down there. He needs to actually take an engagement, but this time Jinro knows that position is very important to him as he's keeping his army around that location so that it can't get sniped before his army arrives.
Well, he's going to be careful because damage is coming in. Jinro needs to respond to this, forced into an engagement, and this is perhaps the moment where, Nuke could really change things around. The storms are huge. That's a lot of SCVs. I like the fact that he hid most of them in the planetary fortress, but it didn't make a difference. Jinro just gun shy against this force.
Oh, and a big storm, so the command center filtering the Zealots, but also filtering the army of Jinro, working both ways, a bit of a double.
That really hurt Jinro. That just took him down to 31 SCVs. That was extremely dangerous. Nuke goes down, but, I mean, Elfi is looking at that. No, he's not going to run into it. Got to distract him.
Yeah, he can see the red dot quite clearly, but once again, Jinro, opting for that chance percentage that it actually hits, and he lands or tries to land another one here. Elfi spotting it again, but Elfi's army is considerably bigger, and because of the way that this has been played out and the way Jinro's been spending his money, as I keep saying, look at the money Elfi has banked up. He's at 5,000 minerals, 3,000 gas.
Another nuke somewhere. I have no idea where that is.
It's just a positional nuke on top of the higher ramp once again, but even if Elfi lost everything, he has the capability to remax so fast. Jinro has to look for an engagement, has to win the engagement, but when I say win, he needs to win with like 100 supply difference win.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Elfi's going to be able to rebuild his army and go straight back into the fight.
Yeah, this is, as a result, fairly passive, and Elfi's a fairly passive player, and he'll happily go for this. And once straight into a planetary fortress, he's tanking it on the Archons though, so he doesn't really mind all that much. EMPs go down on the Archons, but he can't follow it up really, and that's the worry there. He doesn't take too much damage, and there, coming in from the flank, is Jinro's possible out. He's able to slay a good number of Colossus, loads of Warpins coming behind that, but the Colossus count is gone.
Yeah, the Colossus count is gone, but Elfi realizing that he's got so much money banked up, he's like, all right, I'm going to trade a percentage of my army but I'm going to kill both your mining bases, or that mining base and the one helping it.
Yeah.
And that was a good trade, really good trade by Elfi, and that was actually a fantastic move from him. And he's back to 200 supply again, but he killed those bases. So Elfi looking very strong here, and Jinro, not so much. He doesn't even have +3 ship weapons, which is, once again, going to hurt
useful, yeah.
the killing of the Colossus.
Yeah, the sad thing is, like, Jinro actually, with his nukes, Jinro has a tell with this. And I know why he does it. He scans to make sure that he can get the range on it, but every time he scans, a nuke always follows. It's been blindingly obvious, I think, to Elfi where the nuke's going to be.
And every time he launches a nuke, Elfi's watching. Like you said, it's very easy for him to dodge, and so far, Elfi just waiting for Jinro to come down. This is what Elfi's standing here for. He doesn't really want to attack up the higher ground without any sight range. And this could be pretty bad for Elfi if he tries it.
EMP goes off. I mean, there wasn't actually a huge amount of energy available for EMPs. He's just now been funneled into his own storms here, but a ton of bike he's just got ripped from the sky. Jinro's Marauder count is ridiculous, and he beats Elfi back in one of the first significant engagements we've seen in the last 3 hours.
That's why I didn't think he'd walk up there. That was actually a really bad fight for Elfi. Despite having his money, he's going to lose a base in the center very surely, but Jinro should have sniped that and backed off, actually.
Just poke it. It'll fall over. Easy. No problem.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of weird, isn't it? He goes in with everything. He's like, no, I can't touch it. And then Elfi's like, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, yeah, maybe trying to draw his opponent out of position for another nuke play or something along those lines, which this is probably the 17th nuke that has hit and has done very little at the moment. It'll kill 2 pylons and a cannon. It's... I don't know. I mean, at stage, it doesn't even do that, so...
And so far, Jinro is healing back up, doesn't have that much energy on the medivac, so his army's not as strong as it may seem. And Elfi's going to take another fight here. He's going to morph in a lot more Archons and try to go for it. And this time around, as long as he doesn't have a bad engagement, he could do really well here.
Here's the thing, though. Elfi actually has kind of a hidden weakness at this point. His pro count is at 64. Jinro's is at 29. Jinro's maxed army is much larger and more powerful than Elfi. But that's a good storm coming in to the right flank, doing immense damage to those bikes. He needs to focus down. He didn't focus down the right Colossus. Needs to do that. But once again, like I said, Jinro's got this big army. Even not maxed, his army is larger than Elfi's. Elfi still has 63 probes.
Yeah, and Jinro once again holding the higher ground, and it's the percentage of Elfi's army fighting is like 50%, if not worse.
Look at how even
Jinro
this is.
Just spread so thin, where everything is doing damage, and once again Jinro takes another convincing win. So all of a sudden he's had so many convincing wins and battles.
He gradually pushes
the
back.
money is now equal again.
Yeah, he tries to draw him into another nuke. Doesn't happen, unfortunately. The resources lost tab is just so equal at the moment. There's barely anything in it. A few moments ago, it was 9 resources between them. That's how close this game is. Elfi, let's check army supply, because this is what matters. See? Look at the supply. There's still an advantage for Jinro right here, but he does eat a lot of storms, and those are nice. A lot more damage coming in, and he takes out the planetary fortress. That's another mining base gone. Decisive for Elfi.
And neither of these guys have money, and this is like a fight with no gloves or anything, and there's no EMPs. These Archons are going to be pretty good once they morph in, and will Elfi have just enough here for Jinro?
No, the Archon comes up, but Elfi decides to back away. Those guys were so badly hurt. He maybe could have gotten away with that, but this stage he doesn't want to risk it. Income looks something like this. It's bad on all sides. This is the real prize. There's an unmined base up to the top here, and sooner or later, one of these guys is going to figure that out, and they're going to try and go for it and get that economic edge over their opponent.
I think Elfi's just going for the win. He's like morphing in more high tempo. He's saving 3 for storms. He realizing his opponent is very low on income, just like he is. He's going to long distance mine from the north. I think a 400 mineral investment at this stage, even though it seems so small, that's 4 extra zealots. At this stage of the game, that's a lot. And investing in that Nexus, which could still get sniped, he's just going to go for the kill. He's warping in extra units, and I don't think Jinro has enough now. The army supply, 44 versus 55, but they're damaged. They're weakened by Jinro. And he only has 2 EMPs, and if he doesn't hit everything, and even if he does, the Archons are still going to have shields remaining.
Elfi is absurdly resilient. He really is. He won't die. He's even got a smaller army now. I mean, it's just that all of these probes really don't have an awful lot to do with themselves. And it's okay, because Jinro's going to free up a little bit of that supply right here and gun down as many of these as he can.
And Elfi should actually be standing up there. There's no reason for him not to be on that high ground saying, all right, now let's turn the tables. You try come to me on the higher ground. and he could spread out a lot thinner, but he's just saving the energy for as many storms as possible. He cannot afford to take a big EMP here, and Jinro is looking for it. Observer comes in last minute, and it gets sniped, and a nuke instead. He should have EMP'd the High Templar, to be honest. Get rid of the storm and then go in, but he's gonna gamble with this nuke, and it's not gonna work
Elfi's
again.
too smart for that. He won't run into it. It's far too obvious. He can kill a couple of, maybe kill a couple of photon cannons there. He kills one, injures the other, but I can see what he's trying to do. He keeps trying to lure him into this nuke, this one decisive play that will end the game. But Elfi's just, he's too smart for that. And this scan, I mean, it's a tell. It's a tell. Elfi sees it, and he knows a nuke is coming.
These two Colossus actually could be the game changer. That's what I'm thinking. Even though this base is going down for Jinro, it's kind of, if Elfi goes now, he can win. He has two Colossus. There's only a few Vikings without that +3, remember? So he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. At the same time, if Jinro holds this, he will have that base to mine from. This is so razor edge. Both of these guys don't want to fight up or down this ramp. And Elfi has to try to go for it. Every minute that ticks by, Jinro will start to get that money income.
This is where the nukes come in handy, because those nukes are basically gatekeepers. If you drop them. If Elfi gets up here, which he's looking to do, then that could be really unpleasant. EMP comes down, no attempt to nuke at all this time. The EMPs weren't so great here. Elfi looking to try and engage. Storms go down, but they don't hit all that many units. That one at the back was nasty though. Elfi smashes his way through. The army is looking to fall right now for Jinro, but he holds, he holds, and goes through again, and both of these guys kicking the snot out of each other.
Oh, so close. Jinro holds with like 6 units.
There's nothing left.
Elfi reinforces again with the minimal amounts of units he's got. He's got 4 Zealots, a bunch of probes, 2 more High Templar. He's going to go with 2 Archons, a bunch of probes and Zealots, and he can't wait. If that goes to a planetary fortress, that's going to be GG. No doubt about it. If Jinro can successfully mine, Elfi has to do it now. Has to do it before that planetary fortress.
Well, he's going to charge it with probes, which might not work. The repairs are coming in at the moment, and everything that's left of Jinro's army, which is 3 soldiers and the cleaning lady, is going to engage against Elfi's probe count, which this is just getting silly, honestly. It's getting silly.
And the probes are going to buffer a lot of damage here with +3 armor and +3 shields. That small army that's so weakened, the Archons will do so much damage, but the planetary fortress finishes.
It's up, and it's got high-tech auto tracking. It makes me so joyful to see that upgrade. It gets the range upgrade, and it's got building armor as well, and Neo Steel frame. Jinro kiting his way through here, killing as many probes as he can. He gets the Stalker at the back. The Archon can't catch him. He's nailing it down. The shields fall on the Archon. Just one more shot. It's down.
But Jinro mined enough. He has orbital commands. He's got the mules coming in. He's got 7 Marines and 2 Marauders, and that's going to be
gone.
A lot.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that Elfi's near completion in this game now. Well, here come all the Marines now, and they're going to be able to kill these Zealots so fast. Decent micro here from Jinro, and with a medivac coming in as well, I think that's going to put the GG in.
GG.